Hey, in a lot of videos, we're talking about the benefits of Roth and the tax-free growth and how that can be helpful. But in today's video, we're going to focus on, are there specific times where it makes more sense to do a Roth conversion? When are the best times to Roth convert? We're going to go over 5 of them coming up next. Hey, this is Mel Stubbs. I'm a financial planner with Christy Capital Management, where we're helping federal employees plan for a better retirement. If you need individualized help, go to christycapital.com and click Talk to an Advisor. Today, we're going over the 5 best times to Roth convert, and the first one is when the market's down. When the market starts going down, lots of people freak out and they get extra nervous. Could this be the best time to convert? Well, check out this chart right here. This was during the COVID timeframe. You can see pre-COVID, the stock's doing pretty well, then the COVID crash, and you can see the stock market went down a lot. And then you can see how the stock market rebounded a good bit afterwards, and since things have gone up a good bit since then. Now, during this window of 4 weeks, it turned out to be a great time to do Roth conversions. Many of the clients we were working with who already had a Roth conversion on their horizon, we were able to take advantage of that. This was a great time to do it. Now let's look at some of the math behind it. From the picture, you can see February started the big plunge, and it ended in March of 2020. So February 21st, the S&P 500 was 3,337. On March 20th, the S&P 500 was 2,304, which is a 31% drop. Then by August 7th, 2020, it was right back up to 3,351, which is basically back to break even. What if you'd have done a Roth conversion on February 21st? This is before it dropped. S&P 500 was at 3337. Let's say you had $10,000 in an S&P 500 fund. It was $100 per share and you owned 100 shares. If you're in the 22% tax bracket and you did a Roth conversion, you would have owed $2,200 in taxes. In this example, we are moving the shares over in kind from traditional to Roth, and so you're paying the $2,200 of taxes in an outside source. If, however, you would have waited until March 20th, after the 31% drop in the account, your account would now only be worth $6,900. It's worth $69 a share because you still have the 100 shares. You do a Roth conversion of the 100 shares, moving them over in kind to the Roth account, and you're only paying $1,518 in taxes from an outside source. You can see this is about a $700 tax savings because of the drop in the stock market. When you arrive in August and the 100 shares are now worth $100 each, and you're back to the $10,000 value, you can see that you would have experienced a $3,140 tax-free gain. If you hadn't done the Roth conversion, your $10,000 of shares would still be worth $10,000. They would have gone down and then come right back up and everything would be normal. But by choosing to Roth convert when the stock market was down, you paid less in taxes, and then when it bounced back, all the growth was in the Roth account, which means it's tax-free. Now this is easy to do looking, in hindsight back at the stock market to come up with the right time. Here's a chart looking at the last 5 years. You can see way down here on the left, that little blip, that was the COVID crash. You can see since then the stock market's been doing quite well and it's gone up a good bit since then. The S&P 500 right now is around 6,000. In hindsight, it's easy to look back and say, man, you should have Roth converted then. But if you have a Roth conversion strategy, where let's say in the current year you would like to do a Roth conversion, you can be on the lookout for the stock market to go down. If the stock market goes down dramatically, it might be a good time to do a Roth conversion if you were going to do a Roth conversion anyway. Will there be times where you wait the entire year for the stock market to go down and it never goes down? Yes, that can happen. But there'll also be those years where the stock market does go down a lot. Everyone else is freaking out about it, and you realize that good planning with a good advisor guiding you along the way, that you can have had a plan for this and can exercise your Roth converting strategy. Realizing this is an opportunity instead of a big issue. I think that's good planning. We do have a couple more of the best times to Roth convert coming up, but if you want to work with us, to help you get a plan like this in place, reach out to Christy Capital Management. Go to christycapital.com, click Talk to an Advisor. The next great time to do a Roth conversion is when you think tax brackets are going to change and change for the worse. We're coming up on the end of the 2017 Trump tax cuts, and most people believe that there will be some extension of these or some improvement to rates even. But let's just say that Trump didn't win, and you really thought that taxes were going to change for the worse. Doing Roth conversions before that happened at the more advantageous rates is a great thing to consider. We've been helping clients for the last several years really try to get their Roth conversions done because we didn't know what the tax rates were going to do. The name of the game is paying taxes at at what you think to be the lowest tax rate. If you believe taxes are going up, then Roth converting before that could be a wise move. Sorry to interrupt, but if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking about your federal retirement, and there are some important decisions that have to be made at retirement, and messing those up can be catastrophic to a successful retirement. And that's why we wrote the book, Your First Federal Retirement, the 10 decisions that could make or break your retirement. All of these decisions have a lasting impact. Make sure you're thinking through each of these and you're picking the right strategy for you. Get your copy today. The third time to do Roth conversions is the time between your retirement and your RMD age, your required minimum distribution age. Let's look at an example of someone's projected income. Now, this person in 2025 has about 1.5 million in TSP. Over time, if you're not spending the money and it keeps accumulating, it can really cause large required minimum distributions. If you look here, this shows the first pension in yellow and the Social Security in dark blue. There are a couple of years there in the beginning where you can see some light blue. That's portfolio withdrawals. You have to take some distributions just to meet your living expenses. But then you can see when the second Social Security kicks in that their income each month is more than what they're spending. The orange diagonal line is what they're wanting to spend, and you can see how their income is above that. The great news for this couple, they have enough money. But before we celebrate too much, let's see the impending problem they have. If you look here, you can see that the income's around $150,000 a year for several years. It eventually ticks up to $200,000. And then by the end of the chart, 2062, their income is around $250,000 a year. If we show required minimum distributions starting, and they start for the spouse in 2043 and for the breadwinner in 2045, look at the increase in income. This person's income has skyrocketed because of the RMDs. Now keep in mind that they have 1.5 million now, and when you factor in 16 or 17 years of growth without really touching it, the balances can get quite large. But look at the dramatic increase in income, all because of these required minimum distributions. The time to fix that would be from retirement until the RMDs start. Luckily for this couple, they have around 15 years where they can do some Roth conversion, shifting money to Roth before RMDs start. The window of time from retirement to an RMD start is a great time to take care of this problem. You can see here that by doing 8 years of Roth conversions, maxing out the 24% bracket, everything gets converted, and there's no more required minimum distributions. Those later years, the income does not skyrocket. That makes this a great time to do it. What would make things even better would be during this 15-year window, can you also be on the lookout for when the stock market goes down? Yes, you can. These strategies can work together for a more dramatic improvement. The next great time to do a Roth conversion would be a low income year. Maybe there are years where you want to pay off your mortgage and you take a large distribution to do that. Maybe you're buying a house and you need a down payment. For whatever the reason, maybe there's going to be some years where the income is actually pretty high. But then you come across a year for whatever the reason, your income is really low that year. There seems to be a lot of room in the tax bracket that you could do a Roth conversion. That's a great time to take advantage of that. Where this might fit into some of the planning is, do you turn on Social Security or not? For some people, if they don't need it to fund their lifestyle, and so if you turn it on, it's just going to fill up some of the tax bracket. If you don't need it, you could choose not to turn it on, and there'd be more room in the tax bracket where you could do more Roth conversion. So maybe you purposely set yourself up to have a few years of low income by postponing Social Security to give you more room to do Roth conversion. This could be great planning in your situation. The last great time to do Roth conversions is if you want to plan ahead for your heirs. When your heirs inherit your traditional money, they will have to pay taxes on it. Now, if your spouse inherits it, they can roll it into their IRA and they'll have RMDs when they're required to have them. But whenever they take a distribution, it'll be taxable. But let's say you leave it to your children. Now they have a 10-year rule in place where they must take distributions fully, or the account must be emptied within the 10 years. If you leave them all traditional money and they're forced to take it out over 10 years, you can see that that could dramatically affect their taxable income. It could push your high-earning children into an even higher tax bracket than they realize. But if we come back to this picture where the example couple did a bunch of Roth conversions over the first 8 years, and you look over on the right side without strategies, so without doing the Roth conversions, you can see that they're going to die in 2062 with $21 million, $8 million of that being traditional, which means it's going to be taxed, and then $12 million of taxable money. So while you're living, you got to pay taxes on that growth in the taxable account. But if you die, your heirs do get a step up in basis and don't pay taxes on the gain. So it's taxable to you, but it's not really taxable to them if you leave it to them correctly. But there's still $8 million that is taxable. Now, if you look on the left side with doing the strategy, with doing the Roth conversions, you're leaving them around $22 million. So a little bit more, but basically the same amount. But if you look, there's almost $20 million of Roth, which is not taxable to your heirs. And then $2.5 million of taxable money that if you die and leave it to your heirs, they get the step up in basis. So on the left side, they might get $22 million that is not taxed. On the right side, they're going to get $21 million and $8 million of it will be taxed. So doing some of this planning in advance makes a difference. Now I know these numbers look huge, they sound huge, but this is somebody with $1.5 million today that never really touched it for spending the whole time. These strategies still bear out if you have $500,000 in your TSP. It can make sense for you to do some Roth conversions to help your heirs not pay so much in taxes. Hey, if you need help with your planning, go to ChristyCapital.com, click Talk to an Advisor. We'd love to help you. Check out this video right here. Can you trust the government not to change the rules on Roth? My name is Mel Stubbs. We've got a new book all about the 10 decisions you have to make at retirement. Messing those up would not be good. So get the book. My name is Mel Stubbs. See you next time.